Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Retro Gamers Podcast. Testing.
What? Can you hear me? Hello?
Episode, yes, I can hear you. Episode number 342. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
And we're good. We are good this week.
We are good. Although it's going to be a little bit of a deja vu episode. A good amount of what you're probably going to hear this week is stuff we already covered in our episode last week that turned out to be a technical disaster.
Oh, it was fugly. So
yeah. It was like Virtual Boy fugly.
Oh, rude. How dare you? Yes, it was all covered in red. It was lasers. It was terrible. No, we just last week we recorded a full episode.
Yep.
And the only thing that came out perfect was the beginning opening that we filmed separately.
Yes.
And the rest of it went to the podcast gods up above. So
unfortunately, it was a good episode too. So
it was a really good episode.
I'm hoping we can replicate it.
You know the rule. If it's amazing the first time, it's not going to be amazing the second time. But we're going to do our best.
Time. Well, we're not going to stick to exactly what we covered last week. No. We'll do our best to.
Should we try and do it verbatim?
You got the script they sent you, right?
What? If only I could stick to it. All right. Well,
let's not the type.
Let's get right. I think I could.
No, you're not.
I've done readings before, not here, but for other people.
Oh, okay.
Who trust in my talent.
I have no trust in anything. I don't even trust myself at this point.
This is very true. All right, so let's get into it. Let's and again, we're gonna. Well, for me and Anthony, this is gonna be kind of old news, but nevertheless, and I'm not gonna be able to go into as much detail as I did last week. I had this amazing light show with images, and there were clowns, everything going on because I did an unboxing of the Game Boy, the Pocket Glow in the Dark.
The analog Pocket Glow in the Dark.
So since it's already out of the box, you can't put the cat back in the box.
Oopsie.
But nevertheless, I'll still show it off. So
very nice.
There it is. Gorgeous.
Now, did you put it out in the sun so that you'll get your special glow?
So here's what happened. I didn't purposely put it out yet to charge. But what happened was, because I have it on like my desk where I do my work, both personal and professional, being my regular job, a part of it catches the sun. So like the bottom corner, like here, would catch the sun. So if I start work early enough and it's still dark out, because when I work, I turn the lights off. I just, for no other reason than I don't want to pay for the electricity. And then I'm like, what's that out of the corner of my eye? And it's like a little corner of the pocket. So years to come, this part will probably get faded out first for the rest.
Probably.
The thing. So,
well, I mean, I think you should just properly test the whole thing and put it out.
I will. I just don't have like a proper place to put it on a windowsill. I don't really have a windowsill.
Got it.
Nevertheless,
now you need to get one.
Yes, and not only that, now I need the sun. And the last couple of days and days to come, thank you, Hurricane whomever.
Tropical Storm Ophelia.
Ophelia. I really can't get a good charge going, but I will. I did try it though. It works. So I know that.
Thank goodness very good. For that.
No, honestly. Not debating, just a matter of I just have to buy another memory micro SD card.
Okay.
Copy everything I have from my regular Pocket so then I could duplicate it into here, like the ROMs and everything like that. But until then, I got this bad boy going, so I'm very happy I got this. Great collector's edition. I ended up buying a proper case.
Look at that.
For my regular Pocket, which I promise you is inside here.
Cool.
So nevertheless, though, very cool, very happy I got it. And again, like I mentioned last week, I was very worried because everything's green and everything glows, that I thought maybe like the buttons were going to just kind of blend in to the color, like that brightness of the green.
Yeah.
But as you can see, it stands out. So no problems there. Again, and this was my complaint from day one with the regular Pocket. The only thing that bugs me is, and I get why it's like this because every system is different, but like there's no label buttons on the actual action buttons, like no A, B, C, D or whatever. Again, because every system was different, but that's the only touch I would have mentioned. I would have put on there. But besides that, very happy. So good to go with that. Now it's just a matter of time for the Duo to start shipping, so then I can finally play my TurboGrafx games.
All right.
So
sounds like a good plan. The TurboGrafx games will be nice to play on there.
Oh, I can't wait. I got a couple of, I've already been buying TurboGrafx CD games. And I got like that awesome Batman game for TurboGrafx.
Yes.
Well, for the PC Engine, technically.
Yes.
And it's still out there, still kind of looking for stuff. And right now, to mention, because this has kind of happened over the week. We always have those. We always have our holy grail, that one game or one system that we're constantly looking for. Right now, in the beginning of this podcast series, it was for me Shining Force 3 on Saturn.
I think it was for both of us.
Oh, well, like you would consider that your holy grail as well? Because I remember for me, that was like the top echelon.
It was
That's
definitely,
what I'm talking about.
It was definitely up there.
Okay, sure. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, and then eventually I was able to pick it up, which I'm very happy about, and play it for a little bit, which is awesome. Now my newest holy grail is not roller games, but even though it's up there, is a Game Boy Light, which is a Game Boy Pocket with the backlight, only available in Japan. And yes, there's eBay, there's a lot of these sites, but it's funny, and I took this because when I re-listened to an episode that we did when we were guests on two middle-aged guys trying to work it all out.
Yep.
Great podcast to listen to, by the way. Awesome. Chris and Dave. Our episode was about kind of unplugging, and they did another episode recently as well about unplugging from the internet.
That's the one I just listened to recently, and I thought it was really good. And on top of that, I was like, ooh, I wish I was on that episode. I had a lot to say on that topic.
Oh, I'm sure, right? And with that idea, I'm like, you know what? Let me see what I can do, both with roller games and, God help me, with a Game Boy Pocket, to see what I can find out in the wild. And I know when you travel, you're kind enough to, if you happen to come across a game store, you text me, basically telling me, no, they don't have roller games.
Yes,
so keep moving forward.
I know. I ask every time I go someplace now.
And then they're like, what?
They're like, who wants that garbage?
Honestly, I'm like, everyone apparently, because it can't be found.
And apparently every store has roller ball, but not roller games.
So that's just my luck.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find them in the wild. Game Boy Light's going to be almost near impossible to find. But I have hope against all hope, faith against all faith.
Yep. Well, maybe you should check out, I know you don't want to do it online, but maybe you want to check out this place called Retro Games Japan.
Okay.
Which I just recently bought a game from.
Oh.
We talked about it last week. I don't have the physical copy.
When you say last week, remember, no one heard last week.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, we covered it in last week's episode. That didn't happen. And I don't have the physical copy here.
Okay.
But I did get the physical copy. It's just that it's somewhere.
Do you want to mention that, Ru? Because now it's kind of past. It's because I think we have other things to talk about as far as anniversaries, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, we did. So last week there was a 25th retro birthday for this game called Bishibashi Special. And Bishibashi is a game that I kind of fell in love with when I was in LA because there was an arcade. It was a Bishibashi arcade at Barcade in Los Angeles. And it was basically just a mini game arcade. It was a series of mini games and you just went from level to level. And I poured a ton of quarters into this game until I got to the end. It was like 21 levels. And my friends that were with me, we literally took it out. It was a 3-player game and you just go. And then when I was looking up retro birthdays last week, I saw that it had a retro birthday. And I'm like, I didn't realize this game was on home console, only to find out there were a series of them that came out on console. So the specific one, Bishibashi Special, was celebrating its 25th retro birthday last week for the PlayStation 1. So right after I looked that up, I went on eBay to look up the game. I found that on eBay and I just ordered it right away. I was like, I need a copy of this. And it was a company or it's a guy called Retro Games Japan. And when I got the physical copy of the game, he gave me inside a little 7% discount on my next order. So there's a coupon code here. That expires at the end of October. So, Larry, if you want to see if he has a Game Boy Light, I'll pass over this coupon code to you so you can get it for 7% off.
We'll see about that. We will talk later.
Yeah. It's not physically in the wild, but you can still get it.
No, but to be fair, that's, like the Japanese imports, that's going to be a little more that, and I understand, again, Game Boy Light, like I said, I only saw it once in my life in some hole in the wall electronics store a block away from Madison Square Garden, or MSG for those who know. And it was in the window. I was probably just out of high school. And I'm like, this is interesting. But I never thought twice about it.
Well, yeah, because it wasn't a US release type of thing. And back then, I don't think you were really looking at Japanese games.
Well, I didn't realize it was Japanese. It was some electronics store that was like, that what is that, 34th or whatever, that runs straight to the garden, or runs straight to the marquee of MSG.
Yep.
It was on that block.
That's like 33rd or 32nd.
Something like, that's right. You're right. Yeah. And it was on that block.
Okay.
And I just remember I looked in the window, and I had like, CDs, Walkmans and everything. And it just had this system. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I didn't have the money back then. So I was like, all right. But I just figured it was something new that I didn't notice releasing. I didn't realize it was Japanese only until years later, when the shop magically disappeared, and like, oh, where'd it go?
Yeah. Well, that's the way I feel now about every time I see the Legend of Zelda 3DS.
Oh
yeah. I want one, but it's so expensive.
It is, that's where you come into the situation of how much of a collector am I? And there's different levels of collecting. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. And my answer is not enough to pay for that. So
not
especially, especially when it comes to handheld stuff, because it would be something I would buy that I would just have on display. I wouldn't use it. So yeah, exactly. Like your little glowworm pocket thing.
It is my best friend.
Yes. No, it's your good night friend.
Oh, yes. Well, I'll never get to sleep. It'll just be glowing in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
It's bad enough I have to hear my.
Well, it'll be like your nightlight, so you can escape those little night terrors you have.
Ooh, I weep like a puppy.
Yes.
So, all right. Well,
it's just the Sega logo constantly reminding you of how to pronounce it.
Oh, sir, Sega. So, with that being said, let's move on, and we'll recap of the Nintendo Direct from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we'll just go over like a few. It is 2 weeks old now, but we'll go over a few things that we liked about it.
And par for the course. Nintendo just and look, good for them. Don't get me wrong, but just repackaging and putting out games that we played years ago. But to some people, these are brand new. Don't get me wrong. To us, they're repackaged, but to a group of people, they're brand new. And these are the ones I think that we're really going to be interested in, and the ones that we're going to talk about as well. There was a ton of other games, don't get me wrong. I think these are the fun ones to focus on. One of the very few, if not the only non-Nintendo game that they announced, and this will be for multiple systems, the remasters of Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
this will be as a single package.
Yes, and this one got me really excited because I'm a big Tomb Raider fan.
Yep.
I just played through the first game because it was one of our earliest games of the week. We started. Yep. And I've always wanted to play through all the way through the second one. I got halfway through the second one, and I've always wanted to play the third one because I never got to it because I never finished the second one.
Because you will not play the third one until you're done with the second.
No, everything needs to be linear. Although I don't know why it's not like it's a continuing story. It's just me. It's just me being me. Basically,
there's a place for everything and everything in its place.
That is me. So I'm really excited about it. And what I'm like, and the extra excitement that I have for it is the fact that you can play it in they're remastering it, so you can play it in the new look or the OG polygon look.
Yes,
which is definitely strange to look at, but really fun from a nostalgia purpose.
And a lot of games have been doing that where you can actually flip on the fly, which is pretty interesting. And at like what drives you to go, you know what, at this point I want to see what it looked like 20-25 years ago.
Yes.
And then you press a button and you move on. But nevertheless, though, I'm looking forward to it because I really hope, and they really haven't mentioned anything yet about it, but I really hope, and I think a lot of people hope, that they redid the controls for modern systems.
Well, I don't think the controls were necessarily the issue. It was how she moved in response to the controls.
Well, that's control. No, not really, because like no matter what direction you're facing in, you had to hit up to move.
That's what I mean.
Even if you're moving left. Yeah.
No, but that's what I mean. I go, as long as you're fixing her reaction to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think we're on
But
the
I
same
didn't
page on
mind
that.
when we're talking about the same. When you're saying controls, I'm thinking like button mapping and stuff like that. And I
Oh,
thought, and that was fine. But controls in the way of how she moves in relation to what you press, yes, I
yes.
agree.
So we'll see. That comes out on Valentine's Day, 2024.
That's definitely fitting for that.
A game that was mentioned has been out for now a couple weeks, and a game that I've really been enjoying playing because it is chaos
Yes.
to the umpteenth power. F-Zero 99.
Yes, I only played it the one time with you guys. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. A lot of chaos. A little disappointed that we can't play together. That was
Give it
something
time.
that, yeah,
Give
I
it
mean,
time.
maybe it's something they'll add to it. But right
Yes.
now, like, you can't make a group with your friends and join the same F-Zero game.
Not yet.
So I'm hoping for that. But I did read actually today, it wasn't my retro news, I'll just throw it out there
Oh,
now,
okay.
is that they do plan on adding more courses.
Oh yeah, that I
Which is
read that
cool.
as well.
Yeah.
So again, because the same thing happened with Tetris. With Tetris 99, you weren't able to set up a private match until later on. So let them work the bugs out first, and then we'll get there. But nevertheless, just F-Zero 99. When the announcement hit again on I was working when the direct dropped, so I couldn't watch it live, if you will, or as it premiered because it wasn't live. And then a friend of mine texted me, and all I read was, "Oh my God, F-Zero." And then I'm like, I didn't read the rest. I'm like, I'm still working. I haven't watched it yet. It's like, oh, my bad. And then I watched it like on my lunch break, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And hopefully it sparks something to bring back F-Zero. And I get Nintendo putting F-Zero on the side because of two different racers, which are different enough, but still, if you're getting your money out of Mario Kart and even with that's coming to an end with Mario Kart, maybe at that point that will open the door for a new F-Zero. Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, they may continue to live off of Mario Kart 8 for a while because of how many courses they put in there.
They might, but also it might be part of your direct, but part of your news, but we'll mention it here. They mentioned not all of it, but the last wave of new content for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe will be dropping this year.
Yes.
A handful of new characters. One new course announced so far, but of course we're going to get 8 new courses in total, and then that rounds out what makes it like 96 courses or something like that.
96 courses in one game,
which is more than enough. Don't get me wrong. It's
although once you hit 96, it's like you could have snuck in 4 more for an even 100.
Maybe they will. Who knows? They'll pull the old Apple and one more thing.
Well, no, it's entirely possible, like that they'll just keep adding to this game.
Well, see, I mean, you thought that with Smash Brothers Ultimate, but that also came to an end.
That is true.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But if it does come to an end, hopefully we'll see F-Zero sneak in then. We'll see.
That would be nice. I would love another F-Zero game. And that also is a game I got to put on my list of stuff to look out for. F-Zero GX?
GX on the GameCube.
GameCube one. That one I loved.
Yes, F-Zero X on N64 was really good as well.
X was good. Yeah, they've all been good, and I need to get them back in my collection.
There was an F-Zero. I forgot what the official title was, but there was an F-Zero on the Game Boy Advance that was phenomenal.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, some other another game mentioned, but this was more kind of given more excuse me, more gameplay footage and gameplay mechanics is Super Mario RPG that drops in November.
Definitely looking forward to that. Well, since we're talking about it now, I'm sprinkling in retro news.
Yeah, sure.
GameStop just announced that there's going to be a pre-order bonus with Super Mario RPG for them.
Oh, really?
So you're going to be able, if you pre-order the game before November 17th, you will get an exclusive pin set with the purchase, and each pin has a different character from the game. So, I wasn't going to pre-order the game because I was like, when it comes out, I don't even know if I'm going to start playing it because I have so many games in my backlog.
Yeah.
But I can have a Geno pin.
I was just thinking
and that makes me very excited. So I'm probably going to pre-order it now at GameStop.
No, the pin sets, I like the pin set. And I found very easily you can buy backs for the pins to turn them into magnets. So,
see, and if you can do that, I'm all set because then I can
100%.
add them to my magnet collection.
100%. Yeah, no, this looks really cool. Some of the new gameplay mechanics, like some of the button mashing, not mashing, but which also is in the original game, button timing. They're gonna do like not a boss rush mode, but like you can fight the bosses again, but of course it'll be a lot more difficult and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and of course the graphics got a major overhaul. So looking cool on that one.
Nice.
Speaking of graphical overhauls, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD.
Yes.
Coming out. Again, we knew about this from the prior
Nintendo
Direct.
They announced it previously.
Yep, they showed us some more footage, and of course, this is the HD remake of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon that originally was on the 3DS. So it's curious to see how, it's one thing when they bring a game when they brought a game to the 3DS, because they can, do the mechanics for the 3D and everything, which looked phenomenal for a lot of the games. Don't get me wrong, because they did that with the original Luigi's Mansion. They ported it to the 3DS and made it very 3D. It was cool.
Yeah.
But to go the other way around, where you're pulling out the aspect of the 3D, but now you're focusing on gameplay. So I'm curious how much is going to change with Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, where almost to compensate for because the whole idea of the game, well, not the whole idea, but part of the gimmick was the 3D. So I wonder what they're doing to kind of undo that.
Well, I've never played it, so I wouldn't know.
And that's where someone like you would come in, since you never played it. This is a fresh start to you anyway, so it don't matter. So
yeah, that whole series is kind of fresh to me. I bought the first one and started playing it, and I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah, so. The first one was so good. I didn't get a lot through it. I'm going to try and pick it up again. Obviously, at this point, started from scratch. Luigi's Mansion 3, I love, but as always, I do this with television shows and I do this with video games. When I get close to the end, I stop playing.
Because you don't want it to end?
I don't want it to end.
Well, that's...
Smallville has never ended for me.
Wow. And you know what's funny? Smallville ended for me, but I skipped the last 3 seasons because I was so annoyed with the show.
How can anyone be...
I got so annoyed with Smallville. I was like, but then when they said it was finally ending, I was like, all right, let me see how they end it. So I watched the last episode.
Well, he finally flew. That I know.
Yeah, it started. It felt like it fell apart when Supergirl showed up. I'm sorry.
Oh my!
Sorry, Supergirl.
What?
Sorry,
Laura Vanderhoof. Mwah.
No, nothing wrong with her.
Okay.
I thought the story. I just lost interest in the show at that point. It's one of the very few shows I stopped watching. That and Walking Dead, I just gave up on. I know your parents are watching it now.
Oh, okay. They literally just picked it up. Like they just started watching it, and they're going through everything we went through 10 years ago or whatever.
So then I'll try. I won't say any spoilers, but
please.
Yeah, but Walking Dead, like halfway through season 9, I said, nope, I'm out. That's it.
Oh, you got that far? I got.
I got really far.
But that was also because of a friend of ours. They just completely ruined it for me anyway. So
yes.
In any event, so check it out. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD that drops sometime next year. Maybe February. I don't remember exactly. Yeah. A game that I never played, but I played subsequent games because some of them actually were. I think one was released for free on a 3DS. Mario versus Donkey Kong.
Yes,
is coming out, and that's a remake from the Game Boy Advance version.
Again, another game I haven't played. All these Game Boy Advance ones that are coming out, obviously.
This one I never really played as well, but I played. It was kind of like not a pseudo sequel, but it was I guess you'll call it a pseudo sequel to Donkey Kong, which was the first official Game Boy game that was Super Game Boy compatible because it came out with the Super Game Boy.
Okay.
And that was the first one that had a custom color palette on Super Game Boy and the custom border. Mm-hmm. And Donkey Kong on Game Boy was essentially the original Donkey Kong, but then once you got past those first 4 levels, then it turned into a puzzle, like a single screen puzzle game for 100 more levels. And it was you had to basically jump, move around, jump around, get the key, open the door, move forward. Mm-hmm. And then every once in a while, a boss fight with Donkey Kong. So this kind of takes that to the next level, to the advanced level, if you will.
Okay.
So that's why I'm looking forward. I played versions of it later on, but this being the original version, and of course getting the huge HD update, with the Switch. Really looking forward to. If you're into puzzlers, you're gonna love this game.
All right, cool.
So very cool. And then really the big one that I think, and funny enough, I didn't realize I owned it until I just kind of happened to look through my collection after the Direct dropped. They are re-releasing Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door.
Yeah, the Paper Mario series was one of those series like I never got into, but I always wanted to.
I don't did I play the Nintendo 64 version? Because that was the first one. I don't remember if I played that one.
Because I feel like that was like their follow-up to Super Mario RPG. Like they never made a sequel to that. They just switched over to Paper Mario.
Absolutely. As I mentioned before, an amazing game on the Wii is Super Paper Mario, which is kind of like almost like an adventure platform, an adventure game, I guess you can say. Not really straight up RPG, though you do level up. But the Paper Mario series, we got Origami King, which was on Switch. That was the newest entry to the series. But the Thousand Year Door, even though I never played it, I own it. Now that I think about it, I don't think I bought it. I think a friend of mine gave it to me when he was getting rid of his GameCube. So I never had a chance to play it. We got some time until this one drops on the Switch, so I might actually start playing it on the GameCube anyway. But it's always been touted as an amazing RPG. So looking forward to it. Can't wait to try it.
All right. Very cool.
And then that was really kind of, they announced other new games. Like those are the ones that like re-releases, remasters. But a lot like the Princess Peach game is coming out next year. Actually, I think also in February. Probably I think like a week after.
Yeah, and that'll be a fun game to, that'll be a fun game to play. No real updates on Wonder. Wonder's coming out soon.
I think that's why there's no real updates. All they did was just drop which is kind of like what they showed anyway. Just dropped a video on all like the new power-ups and everything like that. And there's like 8 characters to play as,
which is really cool.
Kind of weird because the majority of them don't have any special ability. Like the core players, Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, 2 Toads, and Toadette. They're just like palette swaps almost. Like none of them have special abilities to themselves.
Okay.
It really doesn't matter who you want to play with, which I feel is kind of odd, but all right, whatever.
I think it's nice to give like an option. It kind of harkens back to Super Mario Brothers 2.
But 2, each one of them had some sort of different ability.
Yes,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That I knew. Or even or 3D World or stuff like that. And I know they all had abilities,
But now you can play as one of like 4 different color Yoshis, and they have small abilities, like they can flutter, they can eat stuff. You can play Nibbler. I've been watching Futurama. Nabbler, I think his name is Nabbler. Now though, like Yoshi and Nabbler, they don't take damage. Unless you fall into a pit. But so they're like the easy version of the game.
Right.
But they're in there as well. Nevertheless, though, that's dropping, and those I have on pre-order. I have that and Super Mario RPG on pre-order. I might pull the trigger for Mario vs. Donkey Kong and Princess Peach because I buy those the vouchers on the Switch. It's for $100 and you can buy 2 Nintendo games and you save like 10 or $20 depending on the prices of the games.
Right.
So kind of worth it. So.
Yeah, sounds good. I think you kind of hit all the ones that I would have focused on. And then the other thing to point out, too, was on the same day, there was the PlayStation State of Play.
Yes,
there was. Or Sony, I should say Sony State of Play.
Sony,
yeah, Sony did a State of Play the same day. Again, I don't really... here's the sad thing. I don't really recall much of what was on it, except for they did have a little bit of an update for Final Fantasy VII, which I was excited about.
Rebirth, Final Fantasy, yep,
Rebirth. But otherwise, like the State of Play this time kind of... And I had talked about this with you last week on the episode that never was that this was the first time I saw a Sony State of Play where I was like, yeah, I think I'm starting to fall off the new game wagon. We might have hit it. Yeah. Yeah. Like I might have finally hit that wall where it's like, I'm crossing into old man territory with my video gaming the way that I did with music, because I came to this acknowledgement that any music after like 2005, I've kind of just written off where I'm just like,
I hear you.
Yeah. I don't really,
I can't stand today's music.
Well, it's not that I can't stand it. It's like, I don't even give it a try anymore. It's like, I've kind of just stopped. I've stopped dead somewhere around mid 2000s where I'm like, okay, I've heard all the music I want to hear and I don't want to hear anymore. and that's it. That's what I listen to. I feel like I'm getting there now with gaming, because as they keep talking about new games, like Spider-Man 2, I'm super excited about Spider-Man 2 because the first one was great. Miles Morales was great. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I was like, but that's really it. Like everything else that they're coming out with that I hear about, I'm like, I'm not really, like, there's nothing that's really grabbing me anymore.
No, I hear you. And it's not just PlayStation. Yeah. Trust me, there are new Nintendo games as well, new Xbox games, like Starfield?
Starfield.
Starfield. I just can't wrap my head around it. I mean, the game is ginormous to begin with, but I just can't wrap my head around that. Spider-Man 2, they announced with the state of play, they showed that basically 3 of the 5 boroughs of New York City are in the game almost 1-to-1 aspect ratio, it feels like.
So we're going to be swinging around our neighborhoods that we grew up in.
Queens and Brooklyn are now included with Manhattan.
Interesting.
Why they don't want the Bronx and Staten Island.
I was just going to say, we can swing by our high school.
We could right by the Queens Center Mall. We can see what's going on there.
I could swing by the Cheesecake Factory.
It's
right there in the mall.
Can you imagine? That's like a QuickTime game to get in there.
I'd be like, yeah, you know what? Think about it. You're swinging through the city. You're fighting bad guys. You get hungry.
You burn up calories. Right?
I just want to run in there, grab a slice of cheesecake, and then head out.
Where's Spider-Man? I don't know. Just follow the trail of cheesecake. Spider-Man looks a little he's filling out that suit a little more than usual. Don't mind me.
Well, because he's buying whole cheesecakes. He's not just having a slice.
So
but no, like the Spider-Man game, I'm very excited.
It does look awesome. I actually just booted up for the first time the first Spider-Man on PS4.
Oh, nice.
I never played it. And let me rephrase that. I upgraded it to the PS5 version for $10. And
dude, you have to play that game. It's so good.
I played it as a test drive because we played, pull the curtain back a little bit. Me and Aunt and a couple of friends of ours were playing Dead by Daylight a couple days ago on the PS5.
Yep.
And out of nowhere, I'm like, what is this loud whirring sound I'm hearing all of a sudden? And my PS5 sounded like it was getting ready to blow up. It was. I later figured out. I put 2 and 2 together. I have the front of my entertainment center has doors, and I thought the door was cracked open, but it wasn't, because I don't normally play. I usually play shoot 'em ups, which doesn't take any processing power.
Right.
But Dead by Daylight decided to take a lot of processing power. So I think what happened was there was no air escaping, so it got hot as hell in there.
Yeah,
so that's
your PlayStation was overheating.
Yeah. So I opened up the doors, I let it out, and I tried playing Spider-Man for a while, to try and just test drive the PS5.
Yep.
Luckily I wasn't able to get it back to that heat that it was. So I think I'm good. So I might even just take those doors off. I might just get a new entertainment center. But in any event, but it was worrying me. But when I booted up Spider-Man, and it actually asked me, like, how do you want the frame rate? How do you want it to play? The game looks gorgeous.
It's insane
on PS5.
It's insane how good it looks.
Oh my god,
absolutely
so
insane.
That might be my next game.
But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, it's like, I seem to be falling off of the new games. Although I will say, I did just see a teaser for a new Lord of the Rings game coming out called Tales of the Shire.
Oh, okay.
They didn't really reveal any information about it, but people are making just guesses on what it's going to be. It sounds like it might be like a farming sim kind of thing, where you're just a hobbit living in the Shire. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I can get behind this.
That doesn't sound too bad.
No, that doesn't sound too bad. I just want to make sure, like, if I'm living in the Shire, I better be running into Frodo and Samwise and all of those characters, because I want them living with me. It's no fun if I'm just in the Shire and I'm not hanging out with, like Merry and Pippin and smoking up all the time.
I guess to some people maybe, but no, that sounds interesting. And interesting take on it as well.
See, like, things like that, games like that, new games like that excite me more than the games that are coming out where it's like, look how awesome these graphics are, and look how great this looks. I'm like, I can get excited about that a little bit. Like, Rebirth is going to be awesome to me because I love Final Fantasy. I'm like, but it's hard for me to get into like a new game just because of the way it looks. I need a solid story,
You're right.
Structure.
I agree with you 1,000%. These games that are like, I forgot what game it was. Maybe it was Starfield. No, something else. They're saying could be like up to 100 hours of gameplay or something.
Oh, no, that's Rebirth.
Oh, that was fun. Oh, okay, never mind that.
Yeah, they said Rebirth is about 100 hours of gameplay.
I don't know. And don't get me wrong. Like, I'll easily 100 hours like Metroid. That's only because I don't know what I'm doing. As opposed to, like, if I knew what I was doing, I was hitting every checkpoint, every level.
Or 17 hours in Castlevania 2.
Yeah, no, that took me way longer than I thought. I told that circling around was wicked.
Yeah, you
So
earned that black and white ending.
I sure did. So, but yeah, so are we getting to that point? Are we truly now? We can actually live up to our names as being retro gamers because we don't want to deal with these new games or a lot of the new games.
Well, I don't know. We'll just have to see as time goes by.
Like, for example, I play and it's I downloaded a demo on the Switch, but it's available on different systems. I've been playing the demo, which almost feels like the full version of a game called Gal Guardians Demon Purge.
Okay.
It's a Metroidvania style game,
right?
Where you play as these sisters who are demon hunters, and like you can switch them on the fly, which is pretty cool. One's got a gun, one's got not a whip, but like a sword of some sort or whatever. But in any event, it's a really cool game to play. You can play 2-player local. I think then both sisters are on screen at the same time. But the game is so much fun. But the reason why I love it is because it's got a 16-bit feel to it. It's got like that type of graphics to it. So it almost feels like Symphony of the Night. And that's what drew me to it were the graphics, like because they felt old school. And that's why a lot of times you talk about like new games for old systems because it's got the old school feel to it.
Exactly.
So on a side note, check out Gal Guardians Demon Purge. If it's a demo on other systems as well, download the demo. It's amazing.
All right, cool. I will definitely.
Actually, it's on sale right now on the Switch.
Oh, okay, good to know.
All right, yeah. State of play to me was mostly Final Fantasy, Resident Evil as usual.
Yes, there was a lot of Resident Evil on state of play.
So tons of Resident Evil stuff. Tons of Resident Evil stuff coming out for the PC, PSVR 2. Some new colors for the PlayStation 5 that they were talking about, and the very, very weird, which I still don't understand, walking simulator.
Baby yes. Steps.
That's that almost completely turned me. I almost went, okay, I'm done. Now we're doing walking simulators.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't want to mock simulators because with the Back to the Future set coming out for power washing simulators.
That's right. Oh, I cannot wait for that. I'm very excited about that.
So, but nevertheless, those were the updates from Sony and PlayStation recently, Sony and Nintendo recently. So definitely check them out.
Cool.
Before we move on to other stuff real quick, I do want to mention that I did do again, because I'm like, you know what, let me go back to some old games, and they were on sale. So I did pick them up on the PlayStation. I did pick up a couple of new game I don't even want to call them remasters, just re-releases at this point. I did pick, I don't know if they're still on sale as this records, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance and Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2.
Nice. All right.
Yes, and I'm playing I'm going through the first one. I own the second one and never played it.
Cool.
Because I bought it way after the PS2, but I always wanted it for the collection, and now I'm trying to sell it. But Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 1, and I'm very early in the game.
Okay.
And I got far into it originally. I originally had it on GameCube. Then I think I sold it back at one point. But I am getting my butt handed to me.
Really?
In this early level. Handed to me. Like I got past the rats, but now I'm fighting those, they look like monkeys or whatever. I don't know. I can't remember. I guess goblins. Yeah, they had tails on them, like monkeys, like little like circus monkeys.
Okay. It's not a Wizard of Oz game, are you sure?
I am just getting destroyed in it. And I don't remember if I'm doing something wrong, if I'm not leveling. Clearly I'm not leveling up or something.
Yeah, you're probably not leveling up properly because you shouldn't. Yeah, you should at the early stage of the game, you shouldn't be having issues.
No, you're right. You're absolutely. I mean, I know the idea is you use your potions a lot.
Yes.
But still, man, I am getting whacked early on in this game. So I gotta see what's going on. Still having fun. And the graphics, I mean, they look like they've just been like slightly touched up, which I like, don't get me wrong. You know, it's like it's just running smoother.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm sticking to it. But man, I'm like, I don't remember having this tough of a time originally.
Well, stick to it until you get close to the end. This is one game where I tell you, don't even bother for the ending.
No, well, no, I can because I have the sequel, so I can continue the story. You guys did not have the sequel.
No, we did not, and we were very angry. Frank and I were very angry when we got to the end of that game.
Maybe it's a speed thing. Maybe it's like you have different endings. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
So, All right, so let's move right along. So we're gonna do this one again. Might as well.
Yes.
We didn't get chances. We talked about it ad
We did.
nauseum,
We did.
but it is last week's, 2 weeks ago's game of the week.
Yes, game of the week. We decided we're going to recover what we talked about last week since you guys didn't hear about it. But the game of the week was my choice 2 weeks ago.
Good choice too.
And I chose Kid Dracula for the Famicom family
Yes.
computer. Famicom was also celebrating recently its 40th retro birthday.
Oof.
So I thought it was kind of fitting to go back to that system and play a game that was only released on that system.
Yes,
at the time.
only in Japan until it came out. The only Western version of it is on the Castlevania collection.
Yep.
Which, thank goodness, we have a Western edition, because to play fully, unless you can read Japanese or are very lucky at guessing, it's very hard to move forward in the original Famicom version.
Yeah, there's one specific level that it's basically a quiz show.
Yeah.
So you need to have it in your language in order to understand it. So Larry, what did you think of Kid Dracula?
So I mean, I've played it before when I got the collection. I played it. Yep. But now I actually sat down to play it, and it's such a fun game. Now, granted, it is a tongue-in-cheek, I don't want to call it parody because it's from Konami, but it kind of takes place like in the world of Castlevania, kind of sort of, but it's very, it's childish. It's meant to be that way. So, the gameplay is, though simple to play, at points very annoying. I wouldn't say difficult, just annoying.
Oh, interesting.
In the idea of like the boss battles, they're kind. I mean, you learn the patterns pretty quickly.
Yes,
with the boss battle, which is fine, and then you get through those pretty easily. But I had trouble with some of the jumps for some reason. Like my timing was terrible with some of the jumps.
Okay.
What was it? Either second or third level where you're on like that rocket roller coaster thingy.
Yes.
And especially when you do it the first time, you don't know what enemies are coming at you really fast.
No.
So it's like they purposely designed it where you had to go through it 2 or 3 times. And I went through it about 5 or 6. So it definitely the annoying factor was there. But and the next annoying issue that I had is what I'm up to right now. It's the level when you get the bat, when you're able to turn into a bat.
Yep.
And there's a section where you got to move around spiked ceilings, spiked walls, and everything. But you have ever so slight momentum when you're the bat. It's almost like you're flying on ice, which makes no sense, but you understand what I mean. And when I go to stop to change my direction, I always just slowly slide into the spikes. And then, I got to start the level over. So, again, it's easy. It's just annoying. But I love it. I love the game. The music of the first level, I was humming to myself like all week that week, because it's just really something fun about it. But yeah, bottom line, again, childish compared to the Castlevania series, but definitely fun to play, and goofy enough that you smile while you're playing it. You don't cry and want to toss a controller through the window like when you play Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest.
Castlevania 2 is still great. Sorry. Still enjoy that game. But all right, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. What you called annoying, I just called challenging, because this is one of those games back then. Again, it gave me a Mega Man feel to it without choosing, what boss you're playing, because after every level you get a new power. But each level has like a section where it's a type of trial and everything where you have to go through it and die a couple of times so you can figure out what the pattern is to get through that section. That was very Mega Man to me. So, but again, I thought the levels were fun. I loved the side scrolling. The graphics I thought were great for an 8-bit game. It was really cool to see them reusing Castlevania elements in the first level. Like you actually see like the blocks are the same orange blocks from Castlevania.
Yes.
The clock inner clock workings.
Yep.
The gears and stuff, all from Castlevania. I loved seeing that stuff, but then I also, once that was over, I loved seeing them branch out and just continuing on with their own version of the game. The different power-ups were really fun. You know, you have like
I love the power-ups.
yeah,
Yeah, they were very
the homing missile,
Yep.
the turning into a bat. There were a few others I'm not thinking of off the top of my head right now, but just really really fun. I had gotten to a point where I had gotten stuck at one point because I got pretty far, but there's this level where you're going where it's a vertical level where you have to keep jumping on platforms and the screen keeps going up, so it's like you have to time yourself perfectly, because if you miss one, you're done.
very
So
Contra-like.
yeah, very Contra-like on this one, but super challenging. And then when I got past that, I got to whatever the next level is. I got stuck on not even the end boss. There's like a boss there's like a mid boss in the level.
Okay.
I can't beat him. So but I got a decent way through. I want to go back and finish it. Super fun. Really enjoyed it. Like I said, the graphics great. You pointed out the music. The music's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, the boards are harder to get through than the bosses. The end level bosses.
Yeah, weird.
The end level bosses, every single one of them. Maybe I died once on one or two of them at most, but they were kind of easy to figure out how to beat. Which again, I have no issue with that because the boards themselves were challenging enough. Like I felt like I accomplished enough just getting to the boss at the end. So so all in all, like I thought it was just a really nice, fun yet challenging 8-bit game, and I thought a really good, almost like you said, like a parody of the Castlevania series, but not really.
Yeah, exactly. It was meant to. Yeah, exactly.
It was meant to be fun, but even with it just being fun, they gave it enough of a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a game I would recommend to people to go back and play if you've never played Kid Dracula, and you can get your hands on it. Like Larry said, the Castlevania Anniversary Collection is your best bet to get it on a current console.
Totally.
That collection in and of itself is worth the price anyway.
Just for totally. All the constantly on sale.
Yeah, it's always on sale. The Castlevania games are definitely a great series. And just being able to get an opportunity to play Kid Dracula is worth it because it's just a lot of fun. Totally. So I think that was our quick review of Kid Dracula.
It was. And that was your choice. So this week I got my choice again, or is it now? Because was it last week? How are we doing?
No. It is your choice. And you know what's funny? I don't even remember what you chose last week for this week. So
very good.
You're gonna remind me in a moment.
I'm gonna choose it again. And again, it's a game I'm choosing because another part of the Nintendo Direct. I didn't see it in the state of play, but I saw it on Nintendo Direct, but it's coming out on everything. Don't get me wrong. We're getting a brand new Contra game next year.
Yes.
Contra Operation Galuga. Not Galuga. That'd be awesome. Galuga and Contra meet. Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Oh, that could be interesting.
So we're getting a brand new game next year. Again, coming out on everything. It's basically like a it's not a remake, but it's like revisiting the original NES game.
Okay.
With updated graphics. There are new levels, so it's not a straight up remake of the original game. But what I didn't put two and two together until recently when I saw Konami use like a hashtag for the game. Contra Operation Galuga, Contra OG.
Oh,
because it's going, because remember, we had a new Contra a couple years ago, Rogue something. And that game was not that good.
Okay.
And it was very 3D. It wasn't very traditional. This is more with updated graphics. This is more traditional Contra.
Okay.
It's going to have, real quick, it's going to have a story mode for 2 players or an arcade mode for 4 players, which I think is really cool.
Nice.
But because of this coming out, and of course it being my absolute favorite series of all time, let's just have some fun. I know it takes like 20 minutes to beat, but who cares? If you got nothing else to do, pop in Contra for the NES. If you're really good, I'm going to do like a game of the week, sub game of the week, kind of sort of. If you happen to own it, play Contra 4 for the DS.
Okay.
Oh, baby. That is an amazing game, Contra 4.
Wait a minute though. Are we playing Contra 4 or are we playing the OG Contra?
I just said Contra, but for those who maybe want to play something else as well, we can. I'm trying to also promote Contra 4 that no one's ever played, but I know not a lot of people have it for the DS.
I don't.
Contra. So play Contra. You know what? Play any Contra. But we're playing the original Contra.
We are playing the OG NES Contra.
Yes.
Okay.
Amazing game. And I only beat it without the Konami code, just 5 years during the lifetime of this podcast is when I finally beat the original Contra without the Konami code.
Oh, I've never done it without the Konami code.
Really?
No.
Interesting. I mean, the first time I beat it was the Konami code, and it was the first game I ever beat. And I remember that night like it was yesterday.
All right. Well, you know what? Maybe this time I will play it without the Konami code.
Okay.
And I'll see how it goes.
Let's try it.
That'll be fun. All right.
Yes.
And different. Right?
Yes.
Different challenge to play the
Very
game
different.
as it was made. Without the
as
code.
God intended.
Yes. Although they did put in the Konami code, so apparently
They did, yes.
God intended to help us a little bit.
So check that out. And speaking of which, we didn't mention yet, Ant, where can they find us?
Oh, well, you guys can find us on Facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast, on Instagram at RetroGamersPodcast.
Yeah, move that on me.
I didn't even get to Twitter yet.
Oh, wow, man. I'm sorry. You said Instagram. You're right. I apologize.
Yep. On Twitter at RetroGamersPod. You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube at RetroGamersPodcast, or you can email us at email@theretrogamers.com.
Yes.
All right. And with that, I think it's time we move on to some retro news.
Let's do it.
All right. Retro news for this week. As always, I like to start with retro birthdays when they exist. And we stick to for those of you who don't know, like I try to stick to 5-year increments. We don't do the random, like this is 27 years old.
We'll also be talking about things every year.
Yeah. I mean, our whole show would be about retro birthdays. So for this week, we are celebrating 3 retro birthdays.
Okay.
Going back to 1998, it is the 25th retro birthday of the very first arcade release of Dance Dance Revolution in Japan.
Wow.
Dance Dance Revolution is 25 years old this week.
Gosh. And there are kids I see every once in a blue moon if I go to Round 1 arcade or something like that. And these kids are nowhere near 25, let alone 20.
Yep.
That just, I mean, the new generation still playing this game is
they're still killing
awesome.
Dance Dance
Don't
Revolution.
get me wrong.
Yeah. No, it's amazing to see people playing that game.
Well.
It's just, first off, challenging as hell. So you got to spend a lot of money in the arcade to get good at that.
And I will still stay on record saying that anyone who plays that game but holds on to the back handrail, to me, that's not true playing. I want to see you play like you're waving your arms in the air and you're hitting all the buttons with your feet. That's true gameplay.
All right. Well, that's you. So
I've never played it. So
well, you know what? Maybe you should.
What is that supposed to mean?
Maybe you should play it. Get a little dance on, you know? All right. So Dance Dance Revolution, 25 years old. Also 25 years old. This week, we got the US release of Pokemon Red on Game Boy.
Oh, one of the originals.
Yes.
Red and blue.
Yep. Red and blue. So 25 years old.
Yep.
Pokemon Red on the Game Boy.
Well, it should be red and blue. They came out at the same time.
Well, it was just listed as red. Wait a minute then.
Wait a minute.
Did they release them separately after they first came out?
The Pokemon games were always released in 2s.
Well, the website I saw only had this. Well, you know what? If they came out a few days apart, blue may be listed as like next week.
No, normally they come out at the same time. But in any event,
well,
still 25 years. Did you say?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It sounds weird. Maybe they separated them.
No, they both came out on September 28th.
Okay. Well, the website I found only had it as red, which is
kind of shocked Pokemon's not doing anything for the 25th anniversary. Or maybe they are, we just don't know it.
It could be. Who knows?
All right.
We're not that tapped into the
never
Pokemon
got really
market.
into Pokemon,
but you know, obviously it's one of the most impactful series franchises out there. So had to bring it up. And then the last game I want to bring up for a very special 30th retro birthday that came out this week. And it's a game that I tried playing and never finished. And I really have wanted to go back to it to play through it. And I own multiple copies of it on different systems. But it's the 30th retro birthday of Myst.
Oh, I just saw this.
Which originally came out on the Macintosh.
Ah, good. Good for the Mac.
On the Mac.
Myst, yeah, man. I literally just saw that news this morning. While I tried playing it, I'm not saying it's bad. I just couldn't get. I know you love that game. So
well, no, I just love those types of like first person exploration games. Those types of games. I can't play first-person shooters and stuff because it's too frenetic. But that game I can actually play through and enjoy. So I want to go back. I want to go back and play that. I actually have it on my Steam Deck.
Okay, cool.
I bought the whole collection from a Humble Bundle. So I definitely want to play through Myst. But now 30 years old. Happy 30th.
Oof.
All right. And now getting to news. We just talked about Pokemon really quickly. I'm going to circle back.
Okay.
But apparently there was a Pokemon game, a browser Pokemon game called Pokemon 2000 Adventure that was lost and recently found. You know how this goes.
How do you lose a website?
I don't know. But it was a browser game. It was originally made. It was developed by Cyberworld International Corporation, which was a client of Warner Brothers. The game was released as a tie-in to Pokemon the movie 2000.
Oh, such a great movie.
Right. So, but here's what happened with it. Nintendo wound up suing Warner Brothers because they said Warner Brothers breached their contract because the game, which was just supposed to be a simple tie-in game, turned out to be a full Pokemon game.
Oh, wow.
And so Nintendo said, you're in breach of contract. You needed to do a smaller game to promote the movie, not create a whole new video game. So
Nintendo doesn't miss a beat, man.
No, they were like, we did not tell you to make a whole game, so we're suing you.
Yeah, so people just combing the internet.
So the game eventually wound up getting pulled, right?
Okay.
And then pulled, thrown into the ether, code got lost, whatever. So according to now the Lost Media Wiki, the website was up and available until 2012.
Oh, wow.
Then it went away, right? And then this guy who owns, I guess, a website, or he's an archivist it's called Pokemon Garden.
Okay.
And the archivist name is Rufus10.
Rufus.
He got the game working on a modern computer system. So now you can access.
So now he can get a cease and desist from Nintendo.
Right. So he'll probably get one at some point. But meanwhile, you can see a video of the game and how he got it working again. It's also on the Did You Know Gaming's YouTube channel.
Ah, okay, cool.
So you can find it there. So if you want to see, or if you remember Pokemon 2000 Adventure, you can now check out video of gameplay because of this, because it's found.
I never knew that game existed. The movie was phenomenal. And I'm just gonna say that soundtrack was balling. That was a fantastic soundtrack.
I don't remember that. The only Pokemon movie I think I've ever seen was the very first one.
Yeah, that was Pokemon 2000.
Was that the first? Oh, yeah. Okay. Because they said 2000 and I wasn't sure about it.
I know. That was the time, like, it came out in like maybe 98, 99. But that was like when everything was being titled 2000. Like it was within 2 years.
Yeah.
Like Blues Brothers did that. Blues Brothers 2000.
Well, it was the millennium. It was,
or 98. Yeah.
Yeah. Before the world ended, they wanted to name everything 2000.
No, yeah, that was it. It was weird.
Okay. But, so then that was the one that I saw. Right. That was the one where Ash died and they brought him back to life, right? Didn't something happen to Ash in the movie?
Yes. Oh, actually, wait a minute. You know what? This is the sequel. I apologize.
See? You are wrong again, sir.
Interesting. Okay. Well, okay. Well, then let me go back. The first movie, Pokemon movie, had a ballin' soundtrack. I don't know about the soundtrack of the second.
Well, there you go. So that was the news on Pokemon 2000 Adventure. Another bit of news about people bringing things back to life type of thing. I noticed this online that a Japanese hardware firm called Tasai Denki has been showing off some hardware at the Tokyo Game Show this year.
Okay.
But specifically what they're showing off is what looks like a Sega Saturn Mini that uses FPGA technology rather than the software-based emulation.
Really?
Yes. Now we're not saying that this is an official Sega Saturn Mini, but the fact that they're showing it off at the Tokyo Game Show makes it very intriguing.
No, very much.
And it says here, according to Game Watch, the tech powering this mini Saturn will be part of Hyperkin's Retron FPGA platform.
Hyperkin's getting in on it now?
Apparently.
Oh, man.
So the Retron FPGA was also shown running NES games from a special cartridge converter. So I know you're a big Retron fan.
I mean, I am, and I was until I discovered analog, but holy heck, I probably would have totally went for an FPGA.
Yeah, so we may be in store for Sega Saturn Mini, FPGA Sega Saturn Mini, based off of what's being shown off at the Tokyo Game Show. So keep an eye out for that.
I would, but I'm just trying. I mean, we can talk about it next time, but just trying to think what games would appear on it.
Saturn games.
No, obviously, but like what Saturn games would appear? Like, how many can you get?
Shining Force 3.
That's one.
Tomb Raider.
I don't know about that.
What, Tomb Raider came out on the Saturn?
No, I know it did, but Tomb Raider's coming out with its own releases anyway.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
Why it wasn't on the PlayStation Mini.
I understand that, but I'm just saying. Anyway, moving on.
Thanks for the conversation.
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't want to have that conversation with you anymore. Here I am I'm trying to get you all excited because you buy all these things.
No, I'm excited for it. I'm just curious what games
all of a sudden we're a little bit skeptical.
No, the word skeptical never came out of my mouth.
No, but your reaction was very skeptical. And you're the one that paid full price for that PlayStation Mini.
I love my PlayStation Mini. There it is, right there.
Yeah, sure. When was the last time you played it?
It's been a while since I played any of these.
There you
except
go.
for that thing.
That
thing I play all the time.
Yes. Moving on. Lego recently announced, and I know you sent me a link to this, but I already
knew about
it. Lego recently announced their next Nintendo set that's coming out, and it is going to be the Piranha Plant from Super Mario.
How big is it supposed to be?
Let's see if the information on here is
life size.
I would love a life-size Piranha Plant, but then to me, I would just call it Audrey 2. Which, by the way, I want a life-size Audrey 2.
That'd be interesting.
It doesn't look. It's 500.
Feeding at dentists.
It's 540 pieces.
Okay.
The kit will also include 2 coins.
Oh, that's cool.
2 Mario coins, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's going to be $59.99. So not super expensive.
No.
But it does not have it doesn't say what size it is.
Like, I don't know if it's going to be like that big or like that big.
So I don't know. It looks
be hefty enough.
It looks like a decent size. I would probably say it almost looks to me like from your shoulder to your elbow, roughly.
Okay.
Size-wise.
That's decent.
Yeah. So really cute. So if you like Lego sets and you collect the Mario themed ones, get yourself a Piranha Plant.
Okay.
Not sure. Actually, this site doesn't even give me a release date. What the heck?
Oh, you're looking at Lego?
No, somewhere else. All right, moving on. Next bit of news. Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack, I believe, is getting a new game.
Yes, cannot wait. Never played this game. No, I never played the game before.
Is getting Kirby and the Amazing Mirror multiplayer.
Yep.
So you will be able to play it with other people, which is
3 other people, 4 different color Kirbys.
Yeah,
it's an amazing game. I heard on its own. Like I said, one of the few Kirby games. I kind of got into Kirby shortly thereafter. Yep. So I'm definitely excited about this game coming out.
Yeah, this was originally released on the Game Boy Advance in 2004.
Yep.
So for those of you who have Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack, you can play this very, very soon. All right. So next bit of news comes from 8-Bit Do, which I know you're a fan of.
Great products.
But I came across a review and I thought this was kind of cool. It was a review for their retro mechanical keyboard.
Oh, this thing is awesome.
Yeah. So now you too can play Mario Teaches Typing the way that it was meant to be played.
Yes.
So I'm going to share my screen really quickly just to show.
Yeah, this thing's gorgeous.
Just to give it a quick look-see here.
And they got 2 different versions. Here's the one you're going to show us. You're showing us the North American version.
The North American version, and you can see the AB button on it. Yes. So you can actually use it like a controller if you want.
Not only that, but the giant AB buttons as well come with the controller that's in front of that screen.
So just some more
there you go.
Images of it.
Those are just basically hotkeys.
Yeah, exactly. Just really,
those are bigger
really
than I thought. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, they're sizable.
No, I think they're big.
You can like slam them like you're like a buzzer.
For it, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
Yeah, exactly.
No, for real.
So really, really cool.
Yeah, that keyboard is gorgeous.
Yeah, the color scheme obviously mirrors the Nintendo. Looks really, really cool.
They have a Famicom version as well.
There is a Famicom version as well, but just a really cool bit of gaming history. If you want to get a hold of it, go over to 8BitDo's website. Very important to point out too, you can do it wired or it can connect via Bluetooth. So you
gotta love that wired. Get everything wired.
Yep, you can get everything wired or wirelessly. Looks awesome. I'm actually tempted. But what would I use it for? That's the
every day. Everyday use. I use it for my job. I use my my iMac keyboard.
I guess I could do that. Although maybe if I can find a way to hook it up to the Dreamcast, I can do Typing of the Dead.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there's an adapter. I'm
sure
it's USB, wired USB.
True.
So I just be on the lookout though, because I think it's so old school. It's got the clickety clack keys.
Oh geez.
So click, yeah, you'll be.
Well, that can be. Well, I already have an old PC with a keyboard that does that.
That is true. That is true.
So a little bit more.
Just to go back real quick, I did look up the Lego
Piranha Plant.
The Piranha Plant is 9 inches tall, 23 centimeters for our metric friends.
Okay, and
it's going to be releasing on November 6th.
November 6th, you can get your Piranha Plant.
Very nice. At least in North America, November 6th.
Cool.
I don't know about everybody else.
All right, moving on to a bit of other news. Double Dragon. Recently we talked about Double Dragon Gaiden Rise of the Dragons came out on Switch a few months ago.
Recently, yeah,
a couple months ago. And then they announced Super Double Dragon and Double Dragon Advance was going to become available.
Can't wait. Never played Advance.
And now they're announcing a Double Dragon collection for the Switch, which comes out November 9th.
Beautiful.
The collection will include Super Double Dragon Advance, Double Dragon 2, The Revenge, Double Dragon 3, The Sacred Stones, and Double Dragon 4.
Essentially all the home release Double Dragon games.
Yes. So if you are a Double Dragon fan and you have a Switch, you can buy this collection November 9th and have your complete Double Dragon collection.
Except for Double Dragon 5. Do you remember Double Dragon 5 on Super Nintendo?
I do.
And remember, it skipped 4.
It did.
Well, I mean, technically, Super Double Dragon, I guess, was considered 4 at the time until the real 4 came out.
Yeah, I think that's what it did. Yeah,
and 5 was just a fighter too. Fighter was just a straight up fighter, which wasn't that good.
Yeah,
but nevertheless, this collection very, very cool. I'm looking forward to Advance. Like I said, I never really played it. Advance is almost like a hodgepodge of like the arcade version with some home elements and everything. So it's some weird thing, but still very cool. Can't wait to play it.
All right, cool. A couple of weeks ago we had the title of our episode was Another Week, Another Atari, to talk about the Atari 2600 Plus.
Oh, right? Can't wait, November.
Yep. Well, I'm not repeating that title this week, but it's another week and there's another Atari.
Oh, this thing? Yes, I saw it.
Recently announced, My Arcade is launching a new Atari Game Station Pro console on October 31st. So the Atari, this console from My Arcade will feature over 200 Atari games, including Arcade, Atari 2600, Atari 7800, and most importantly, Atari 5200 games.
That's interesting. The 5200. Yep. I hate to say it, I might be changing my order.
Yep. So 200 plus games built in. It's $99.99, delivery by Halloween. That is when it comes out.
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah, I mean, the fact that it has the 5200 games on here has me intrigued. But
very right.
I gotta say this though, My Arcade to me, I'm not all that enthused about. So I gotta see it first.
They're not. I mean, I've played a couple. Are these things My Arcade?
Do you have My Arcade?
There. I have the tiny arcade things. I don't remember if that's My Arcade or not.
Yeah.
But My Arcade, trust me, My Arcade is not at games.
Right.
My Arcade is high quality stuff. So even like their mini arcades, you'll see a lot of like single mini arcades.
Right.
Everywhere from the arcade Contra to like crappy Burger Time and some other games as well. So no, I definitely, you can trust My Arcade. That I can tell you. You're getting 200 games. Like if this was at games,
I'd say no.
And would be legit.
At games is a no.
Yeah. So no, this is definitely worth it. The hardware looks phenomenal for this thing. And with over 200 games, I mean, I can't even between those four systems, trying to think of that. I mean, there's going to be some doubles because there's going to be the version for the 26, version for the 50. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the 78. But you can trust my arcade. I can tell you that for a fact. The quality looks fantastic for this system. If
It does look pretty cool.
It's sleek.
Yep.
And the controllers just look phenomenal. And the controllers all in one. It's got the dial for sliding games, and then it's got the regular joystick and everything. So I'm seriously debating this and might even possibly cancel the 2600 plus. I'm not saying I will, to get this thing.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens.
We'll see
I'm curious to see the game list. Right now, all they have listed: Asteroid, Centipede, Pong, Breakout, Missile Command, Warlords.
All top quality games. They released something that listed the games, but it was done in like a Star Wars type moving,
like credits.
Yeah,
that's
field.
Funny.
So a little hard to read, but funny that they did it like that.
Well, I am curious enough about it, so I'm going to keep my eye on this.
Okay.
So Atari Game Station Pro, it is called.
Yes.
From my arcade. All right. Getting close to the end here. The Famicom. We're talking about how the Famicom recently turned 40.
Yes.
And this year, at this year's Tokyo Game Show, the Famicom just won a Tokyo Game Show award.
What?
Tokyo Game Award.
How?
Yeah. That's won.
Not a lifetime.
The Famicom won the Minister of Economy, Trade, and Industry Award.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The award recognizes someone or something that has contributed significantly to the growth of the Japanese games industry.
Okay.
And again, we can say, without the Famicom, we may not have survived the video game crash of 83.
1000%.
So they've acknowledged it by giving it this award at the Tokyo Game Awards this year.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Hey, congratulations.
Yes. Congratulations to the Famicom. Phenomenal system. And the last bit of news that I wanted to share with you specifically, Larry.
Me?
Specifically, the website Time Extension, one of the websites I go to for all of my news, has decided to waste some of their digital space by listing the best Virtual Boy games of all time.
Nice.
It's a top 10, which I find very funny, since only 17 games came out on the stupid system.
No, like 20 something if you include Japanese only.
Whatever it is. So basically half of the library is in the top 10.
Well, it's got to be something, right?
Which to me makes no sense. And just so you know, the number one game is not the Wario game that you talked about. No, the number one game that they have listed is no, I'm sorry. I was looking at the number two game. The number one game is Virtual Boy Wario Land.
Ah, yes.
So
I have the list in front of me. Red Alarm is awesome. That's the number two game.
Yep.
But again, the still pictures do not do it justice.
No, it looks terrible.
It's a vector game.
Yeah, it's
a bunch of. I had this. I think this was one of the release games.
It just looks terrible.
You might have played this.
No, I don't know what I played. I think I played Mario, the tennis game. Mario.
Well, definitely. Mario Tennis was packed in with it.
Yes,
I probably had Mario Clash. This maybe showed up a little later.
Yeah.
But Red Alarm was awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, so if you want to waste 10 minutes to go read it, go right ahead. We don't need to talk about it anymore. That ends our retro news for this week.
All right, no problem. Mario Clash is 3, 4. All right. With that, we will wrap it up because I desperately have to go to the bathroom. With that, and one more time, where can they find us?
You guys can find us on Facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast, on Instagram @RetroGamersPodcast, on Twitter @RetroGamersPod. You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube @RetroGamersPodcast, or you can email us at email@theretrogamers.com.
And with our fingers crossed, everyone will be able to listen to this episode this week.
Yes, I hope so. Because I'm not, you know what? Because I'm not reviewing the Nintendo Direct or Kid Dracula again.
Third time is not a charm.
No.
All right. Well, with that, Ant, have a wonderful week.
You do the same.
And we will catch you everywhere next week on the Retro Gamers Podcast.